I'm going to interview my mom and dad about something that they keep seeing up here. It kind of looks like a wolf, don't it? And they keep seeing something that gets about 7 foot tall. It's always in the same spot every time. So I'll let Dad tell you more into detail about what it is.
Today, I was sitting here in the same place right here, in this recliner, and Bev hollered and said she seen something run by my window. She's talking on the phone. The electric was out. Well, she hollered at me, so I run in there. She said, "Did you see anything out in the yard with a big red and brownish looking tail?" And I looked out there. I said, "No, I don't see nothing." And she was talking to her sister-in-law. And so I looked. This is the third time that happened here. She's seen that. Big, long tail, but you look out there, see if it's out there in the yard running. And Bev said well, my window's pretty high, and you can see the tail up. And so I don't know what that is. But every time I look, it's like it disappears. So I don't know what's going on. And then me and Bev, we always see something. I seen it one time. It was a black thing down here where this brick house is, where we live in this area. And we was down there, and she got a lid to this person's trash can, was putting it on. I was sitting in the truck, and I looked up that way, and there was a gas meter up there. Well, right up above it, there was a tree, and there's something black standing in front of that tree. Big, tall thing. I'd say it was there, probably more than that 7 foot. But anyway, it was black as it could be. Well, Bev got in the truck. I said, "Bev, you see what I see up there?" She looked up there. She said, "Yeah, I do." I said, "What is that?" And you can see that thing. It didn't have no neck. Its head's right on practically on its shoulders. But you can see it turning its head like this. But you didn't see no arms move or nothing like that. And it's still real still except its head. And it was turned one way and got in front, looked down towards where we was at, and then turned again. And Bev said, "Let's get out of here." So we did. Well, we got questioning ourselves the next day. And Bev said, "I'm going down there and make sure we seen what we seen." So she goes down there, comes back to the house, tells me, said, "Jackie, I sure did see what I seen." Said, "It ain't there." So I got questioned myself, and I said, "Well, I'm going too." So I went down there to check it too. Sure enough, whatever we seen there, it wouldn't stand there no more. It was gone. So we did see something. And my buddy, Dexter Messer, I got talking to him, and he told me he lived this house he used to own before he sold it and moved in the one he's in now. And he told me he'd been a drinking. He said, "Now, Jackie, I wasn't drunk." He said, "I went to bed." He said, "There was a dark thing come in his room, had a black cape and a hood over it." And he said, "Buddy, I couldn't move. So I tried to holler, had my mouth open, I couldn't even holler." He said, "I was like that for 2 minutes, and that thing disappeared." Now, what was that? I don't know. Oh, down here in the brick house, we got a little girl that shows up in the windows in that house, the brick house I was telling you about. And we investigated this, my son and my daughter-in-law and some other people and my wife. We went down there, and him and my daughter and our son-in-law. But anyway, we picked up things, and her name is Abby. Well, people have seen her, and Dexter Messer, the guy I just got through telling you about, he's got a granddaughter. There was a tree that fell, and they was cutting it up, and they was hauling the wood back over here where the brick house was. And the little girl looked at that brick house out of the bathroom window, and there was a little girl standing there, and she waved at her. And she told her papa, this is Dexter, and he said, she said, Papa, whose people lives there in that house? He said, there ain't nobody lives in that house. And she said, well, I just seen a little girl in the bath, I guess it's the bathroom window that I seen her, and I waved at her, and she kind of looked at me, and now she said she's gone. And Dexter told her, said, there ain't nobody living there. And also, I want to tell you this. This was last year, and Bella hollered at me. I was sleeping in this room, and she's sleeping in the other room. She said, Jackie, are you up? I said, no, I'm not up. I said, I'm laying here. And she said, I just heard somebody walking. Well, I flipped back over this way on the other side of the bed, and the pole light shines through my window in my room, and you can see it in the hallway. Well, I looked in the hallway, and there was something standing there, had black hair down to her shoulders, and like a white gown or a white dress on. Well, I asked Bella, I said, Bella, are you up? Because she's the size of Bev, what I seen. And she said, no, I'm in the bed. I said, well, I thought I just seen you. And here she run in my room. Well, I got up, whatever that was, walked in here in the living room. I come in the living room to see what it was. He wasn't here. And that's the first time I ever seen that. And that's the first ghost I ever seen, too.
That's like that brick house, the bathroom window. It's got a vanity in the mirror in front of it.
Yeah.
So there's no way nothing could get in behind that thing.
No. And I told Dexter the same thing when he was telling me about what his granddaughter seen. And I said, there ain't no way somebody could be standing in that window at that height with that table pushed right against the wall and a mirror. There's no way.
So I think Mom's seen that black thing a few more times.
Oh, yeah, she's seen it more than I have. I seen it one time. And tell them about the experience you had, Brandon, when you...
Yeah, I was leaving out here one morning, right over here, as you come down the road, across the dam. It was probably 5:30 in the morning. There was something that was standing in the road, and it took off running. And my first thought that it may have been a black bear, but it was about 7 foot tall too, and it was running on its back feet, and it run over that hill. And Dad had came down here. I actually called Mom. I got phone service, told her what I seen, and Dad had came down where I saw Dad, and he had saw a path wore out over the hill down through there.
Yeah, that's true. And then I seen across the branch, there was a tree laying across the branch, and there was stacks of rocks. I'd say there was probably about 5 rocks stacked up on this tree, laying there. I said, who in the world done that? And I always heard if it was a Bigfoot, they do stuff like that. And after I say about that, behind that log house, the brick house, pardon me, but the brick house up here by the ditch, there was a tree structure had started, and I went up there to look at it, and it had tracks where it went across the ditch and into the woods. And there was 3 sticks forked like a teep. And another piece of stick was laying there on the ground, and whatever it was probably got scared and never did finish and run.
Yeah.
So one night I was laying in here in my bedroom, and something hit my window, but where my head of my bed is, went like, smacked it, just like that right there. And I told Bev about that. Well, the next day, Bev had been mowing a few days later, and I went out there. The grass had been thrown up here on close to the window, and I noticed there was a big footprint embedded in that grass, and you could see the shapes of a toe. And I showed Bubba that, and she said, "What is it?" And I wore a size 8. And I put it next to it, and it was way bigger than my foot. It had probably about a 13, 16 inch foot.
Yeah, there's also Native American graves across the road over here, and I think that the black thing that's seen up here, not the Bigfoot, but the other things like a wolf, I think that may be a skinwalker or a shapeshifter. What I think it is.
Well, Brandon, what do you think about that part of that tail runs by them windows right there in your mom's? And
That's what I think it is.
why do you think that is?
I think it's a shapeshifter.
I seen it twice at the bathroom window. Then the day I seen it at the bedroom window. You know how high that bedroom window is right on in? What is it, about 8 foot high?
I'd say it is.
Yeah, I'd say it is. You can't.
And it's a big old bushy tail. It's like
You got a ladder to get up there to it.
You want to clean that window.
Yeah.
And I hollered at Jackie, and I thought, well, where did it go? It just disappeared. That's 3 times it's done that.
Now, people, we have a lot of things happen here where we live.
Well, the neighbors, same thing.
A lot of things. People just think you're crazy when you're talking about it, but we see it and we hear it too.
Well, see, the neighbor woman has black.
And my daughter-in-law and my son has seen it too and heard.
And my mom over here is skeptic, and she saw the big tall man walking through the brick house down there. You remember that? You know, but you gotta be skeptical when you do paranormal and everything. But I thank you for your interview. That was pretty good.